Welcome to Transforming the Times. I'm your host, Suzanne Strisower, and I'm thrilled to be with you, and I'm thrilled to be bringing you a new show. And in this show, I want to go and share with you things that haven't generally been done on television, and in a way that people can get into and be inspired and enlivened by. So I hope you really enjoy the show. And we're going to focus on 6 different areas in this show. We're going to be talking about spirituality and all the different ways that we can connect with our spirit, with our own divine selves, our own inner energy, and also the energy of the cosmos and all of the amazing things that are there for us. We're going to also talk about sustainability and how many of you want to have green lives and green worlds and a more peaceful, pleasant environment for all of us to live in. We're going to be taking care of the environment. We're also going to be covering inspirational authors. I want to be sharing with you amazing people who are bringing beautiful content to the planet, which you may or may not have heard about because they're not an A-list celebrity. But we're going to be doing that in this show. We're also going to be taking in... How come it's the wrong slide?
It was the right slide.
This is the right slide.
Yeah, and I think you're jumping on it.
Okay, so let's
Just
go
so I
back.
could go back to it, because like right now I'm like, okay, one of my notes again.
Yeah,
You want to pick up something?
yeah. We'll do a pickup, and we'll just do it from.
Let me just do it from here.
Yeah, you don't even have to go from the top of this. You can go from. Well, go from the top. Go from the top of
Okay.
what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
All right.
So there's 6 different topics.
Hang on 1 second. Did you cut?
No, I have none.
You have not cut. Okay. So here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
So you're going to go the finger to the fingertip with me, or you just say 2 and that means I'm good?
Because you're looking at the.
Oh.
I stop at 2. I figure you can get the rest of the way.
Okay,
because
good.
I'm off of audio. So.
Okay.
Okay, here we go again. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, and so what we're going to be talking about today and in all of these different shows is we're going to have 6 different areas that we're going to be talking about. The first one is sustainability. And sustainability is about being green. And for all of you out there who are listening, this can be green in your apartment. It can be green in a farm. It can be green wherever you live. And in so many imaginative and creative ways, you can be green. There's also being sustainable. Spiritual. There's also being spiritual. And what that means is that the different ways you can connect with the divine and the cosmos and your own inner self, your own inner wisdom, your own life purpose and higher calling. So many different things and ways to connect and deepen your own world and your own connection with something much bigger than yourself. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to work with conscious causes, because there's lots of people and energy on the planet that want support, they want help, they want like-minded people and other people to share. So hopefully you're going to find things that are of interest to you and that you want to participate with too. Then I'm going to be interviewing inspirational authors, musicians, and entertainers. And the reason for that is because they have so much that they can bring to the table and such interesting lives. And so who knows who we're going to have on that show, but I can guarantee you they're going to be interesting people that have done fascinating things. And what I love about this segment is I'm actually going to get inside of their minds and their heads, their hearts, and their souls, and you're going to get to go with me on that journey inside these people. And then we're going to do some stuff with optimal healing. And the thing that I want to focus on in that show is not what conventional medicine talks about, but what is your alternatives, what there are for you to be healthy, for you to become self-responsible for your own health and really moving into well-being and wellness, optimal health and wellness. And then finally, we're going to do stuff with eco travel and go all over the planet. We'll do some stuff on location, and we're also going to bring in kids and young adults and their work, and they're making a difference on the planet. So we're going to have different topics each week, and those are going to be what we're going to be covering in our interviews. Now, in terms of...
Yes.
Okay, so I was ready to go for my next slide.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you said that you were going to start talking about,
Okay,
and then I was going to switch.
okay, so we can just cut right there, right, Carl? Okay.
Yeah. And actually, you don't really necessarily have to worry if it's not there, at least not right away or something.
Okay.
Because again, this is kind of a guide track, but it's not. Like
It doesn't
what's
have to be
actually-
precise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So let's do this though. Let's go back and just give me a pickup, starting with the previous slide, Gordon. And Suzanne, can you just redo your out here?
Okay.
On, Gordon, were we on? Well, we got all of them. So.
Also, let's try to keep track of which camera we're on, so when we do a pickup, we don't have a jump cut.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. But then I realized, but wait, we were ISOing all three, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's right. Okay, never mind.
So, okay, so just redo your out. So, and also what we're going to be doing is,
Okay.
and move into your next section, and then Gordon, just be ready to switch. Okay, in 5, 4, 3, 2.
So the final thing we're gonna be talking about is young adults and kids. And I think that they're really important because they're amazing, their energy is amazing, and we have all the indigo kids, the diamond kids, all these amazing children that have come in. So we're gonna be talking about what they're doing, young kids, young adults, and doing all sorts of interesting things to get the community involved with the kids in their programs. So those are gonna be the different things that we cover in Transforming the Time. So lots of different content, and I hope you'll enjoy that. And now I want to tell you a little bit about me and where I come from, a little bit about my background, so you know who's going to be sitting here with you for all these different episodes. And my background is shown here in a different kind of a chart than most of you are used to seeing. This is a human design chart. And what it does is it shows you how you can take your astrology and you can overlay it on your whole body. And you can have your chakras in there and you can see the different energies and the field of energy conveyed through your body through this type of chart. So it takes astrology and it moves it up another notch. So you'll have fun with this because you can see that at the bottom, you can see the chakras going up through my body. And then the bottom one, in my case, my first chakra, I have no color there. So that means I'm not really grounded, or I've mastered that and I just kind of move around. And then most of me is colored. So that means I have opinions about things and I have energy that's in things. And then there's my heart chakra, which is the white triangle in the middle. And that shows that my heart's really open. I receive a lot of what the world gives me. And so you'll feel that. And each one of you has a human design chart, which you can easily get. They're online. You can see on the website, on the slide. And so if you're interested, but this is kind of my vibration. So you'll see me as a composite in this slide. And then I want to share with you what my life purpose is, because this is really what's going to be moving through this whole show. And my life purpose is to connect humanity with the divine in practical ways, so that it goes and has a conscious vibration that will fulfill them and enrich the planet. So what does that mean? It's not all the woo-woo is wonderful, but if you're not grounding it in some way, who cares? So this show is all about how it is that you can be both very connected with the divine and you can also bring that into this dimension. So each one of my guests, you're going to see that manifesting in their lives. So that's what I want to really share with you, so you can go and implement this in your own life in whatever way you want to, in whatever way makes sense for you. But I want to bring things to the table. I want to give you a big buffet and you take whatever you want out of it. So a little bit about where I come from in my life. I live sustainably, and I always have. I grew up in San Francisco. I moved to the Appalachians and lived in the middle of nowhere in the Appalachians. And then I moved to rural Northern California, and I've lived on 30 acres in the middle of nowhere for 15 years. And I love being in the middle of nowhere. Being in the middle of nowhere where I have a 100-mile view that goes across the whole Great Valley of California. So one day you're going to actually see pictures of where I live. And you'll see my farm, you'll see the 150 fruit and nut trees, my llamas, my goats, my chickens. And so you'll see what it looks like to live an organic life, not just in some kind of contrived way, but to see what Great Spirit led me to do. So I'm going to take you on that journey with me. I lived off the grid with solar and wind and a generator for 5 years. So all my sustainable people that I'm having on, I've been there, done that, and so I want to share that with you in practical ways. Then we're going to be my educational background, and for those of you who care, I've got a master's in psych, and I've done a lot of different things. I'm a hypnotherapist, a master gardener, I'm a mediator. So now I just cut that right there, Carl?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I can start?
Yep. Go
So-
back to the top of my education, for those of you who care.
Okay.
What slide should we have up here?
Go ahead and go with
It should just be the blank slide, right?
you do the books. Put is this Is this books?
This is not. This
We're
is.
Not ready for books yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go and talk about
Okay.
my life and then come back to
Okay,
books.
so put Transforming the Times card up right now, Gordon.
Stand by.
And then do we go to books?
And then we'll go to the books
And
after
then we
that.
go to books after that, okay?
Is this sounding okay, Carl?
It's awesome. It's great.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so now your education for
Okay.
those of us who care. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
So for those of you who care or are curious about my background, I have a master's in psych, and I actually studied dream work for years. And my bachelor's was in fine arts interior design, which I did for a number of years. And then I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a mediator and a master gardener and an inspired learning facilitator and many more things, which you'll hear come through when we do all these different shows. I will be bringing all that, those 40 years of experience, to the table when we talk. And so then,
I'm going to stop you right now. I'm getting too much rustling. The microphone is hitting.
Oh, okay. All right. Hang on a second. We'll take a look. It's folded over. So.
do you want to put it up here in just the top of the collar, Carl?
No.
Okay.
I don't. But that's. Okay, go ahead and talk. And
Okay, Gordon, is this better? Okay.
All right, so let's pick up from. I think we got to.
Do you want to do education again?
Yeah, we want to do education again. Yeah, Gordon?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Starting with education section again in 5, 4, 3, 2.
So for those of you who are interested in my background and my education, I have a master's degree in counseling psych, and I've studied dream work. I have a bachelor's degree in fine arts interior design, which I did for a number of years. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, master gardener, and many, many other things. I'm actually an agent of conscious evolution from Barbara Marx Hubbard. So all of those different things I'm going to be bringing to the table in this show. So you're going to get the wealth of my 40 years of experience, and we're going to see where that takes us in all these interviews. And then finally is my professional background and what I've done. And I marvel at people who can do one thing and have done one thing, like my co-producer, my executive producer, who you're going to meet shortly. But in my case, that wasn't the case. I've actually had 17 different careers. Sometimes I had a day job and a night job just because I couldn't stand to do just one thing. So I've done anywhere from being in the trades and hung wallpaper to at night being a psychic to by day working in county government in politics, and then at night being a hypnotherapist. So I've had day and night jobs most of my life, which I've enjoyed. However, in the last few years, last decade say, I've become a land developer. I've gone into sustainable agriculture. I've been a life coach, a social worker working with kids in foster homes. And that has taken me, unbeknownst to myself, into radio and television, which was what brings me here to you today. All of these different things I've been guided and I've been led to do. So who knows where we're going to go in these shows because, again, they're guided and they're led. And the last thing is I want to tell you is about the media that I've done. And I started doing a little show on radio. And that was now 3 years ago. Now, several hundred interviews later, it was called Living Life on Purpose. And that show still runs today. It's on the internet. And I have 2 other shows, The Doctor's In, and also Your Life and Purpose Revealed, where we do psychic readings. So if you want to find me and listen to the whole different thing on radio, you can do that. And then came television. And television came to me in a remarkable way, like most things have in my life. One day I said I wanted to do television. And the next thing I know, I was offered to do this show. And so the other thing I want to say about that is you too can have those kind of opportunities be created in your life if you just say, I want. And so when I started this television show, I had a vision. I wanted to take what I had done in radio and all those different areas and bring that visually so that another way of connecting with people could actually happen. And so that's why we're doing television. Otherwise, I would have been happy just to stay at home and do my television, my radio show at home. But television, I wanted yet one more way of connecting with people and to connect other people. And so that's what this television show is about, is to bring all of that to the table in ways that everybody can receive and help co-create. So there were 4 books that were really sort of profoundly transformational in my life. And the first one is Cultural Creatives and how 50 million people changed the world. And so I look around and I say to myself, what happened to those 50 million people? What happened to our world? And so somehow the cultural creatives haven't all managed to connect. And yet, if you're watching this show, you're one of those. So the cultural creatives, what your job is to figure out what your cause is, what your passion is, how you want to get plugged in. And one of the things I hope with this show is that you're going to plug into the resources and the opportunities that are presented in the show, because there's going to be many of them. And there's 18 different areas. Highly recommend the book. The Urantia book is also an amazing book. I read it when I was 18. It's 2,000 pages. It's like a metaphysical Bible. And in it, it talks about the cosmology of the world and how we all fit together and how everything lives and how it all harmoniously, from our bodies all the way into the galactic cosmos, all connect. So if you want that kind of information, that kind of a download, that kind of a sense of yourself, and I'm going to have some guests who are actually talking about similar things, that is what that's about. Anastasia and the Ringing Cedars of Russia, is an amazing series of books for anybody who wants to be sustainable and conscious. It talks to you about how to be green, how to really connect with the bigger world and to bring it down into your own life. And you're going to see that I'm a big fan of bringing things down into your life. It's pointless if it's just something that lives in your mind or in a dream state. It has to be real down here, and Anastasia teaches you how to do that and gives you a vision for that. And then, if you're a person who happens to feel stuck in your life, but you know that you have that amazing energy and something to be done with it, there's another fabulous book, life-changing book, called Busting Loose of the Money Game. And Busting Loose of the Money Game teaches you how you actually are the executive producer, the cameraman, the choreographer, the actor, and you create all the props that you see of your life. And then how to change that so that you actually become the executive producer again. So those are the books that I recommend if you want to shift and change your life. And every segment, as I have new and interesting resources for you, I will bring those to the table. So from there, we're actually going to move on into our show segments for today. And the first one that we're going to be focusing on when we do this is we're going to always have a cosmic impact section. And why do I want to do that? Because I want you to know what's happening on the planet, what the big things are that are influencing all of us. So all of us have the influences of Mars, Neptune, the sun, the moon, and all sorts of different things. And so what you want to do is I'm going to show you that. Every week I'm going to show you what's next and what to do with that. And then, so you're going to know, every week I'm going to tell you something about what the influences are and the energies are on the planet. So you'll know how to best work with those for yourself. Then I'm going to give you some fun things with conscious causes and happenings. And those are some things that are happening during the month, some things that are happening on a given day, and some things that are relevant to the show. So if you want to do some expansion of things, you have that opportunity to do that. And so we're going to be doing some of that. And then the last thing I'm going to do in every show is an interview. And I feel like they're going to be kind of sacred segments because each person is going to give you the gift and blessing of who they are and share with you what they have done to transform the planet, and also give you opportunities and ways that you can get involved with that too. So those are going to be the things that we do. So now I want to just jump right into the segment, and I'm going to give you a clip from an astrologer in England, Barbara Goldsmith, and she's actually going to be talking about what the year 2014 is doing and what you can expect, and she has some startling things to say.
14. We are still in the cardinal climax,
Okay, good.
which began in 2008 and
we can go
doesn't
ahead
end
and
until
cut
2015.
to the end of the clip, and we'll go from, I don't know if there's a fade out on it, but we can do the fade out, and then you can pick it back up. So pause there for just 1 second. Add 4.5 minutes. Are we keeping kind of sort of a log of how long we think, or how much time we've got showtime?
Yes.
It's been running, she's actually counting, I've got the run time right now, you got 1 hour and 10 minutes, which is what you had seen 70.
Okay.
So, but we've actually run slightly longer than that.
So that's the part you have to about a 7-minute length longer.
Right. Okay. All right. And all right. So add 4 minutes to whatever you're estimating right now.
So how are we for time right now, Karl? So that means we spent.
We've paused a couple of times, but we're almost at 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, we're at 1935. I haven't stopped while we've been stopping and
Okay.
starting.
Oh, good.
So I'm not
Okay.
going to worry about adding in those 4 minutes because
Okay.
we've already made it.
Got it. Okay. So then we're probably
So-
right at about 20 minutes.
We've been recording for 20 minutes and 32 seconds.
Great.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay. So we're going to pick this up, let the clip finish and fade out, and then go to whatever your next card is, Gordon, and Suzanne will do her transition out. Okay? Are we at the end? Can we get to the end of the clip? There you go.
Was that
I was
considered-
wrong.
Yeah.
I thought last year we were going to see a crash. I had no idea how powerful the intervention of Pluto, square Uranus, and in mutual reception to Saturn was going to, that central banks would have so much power.
So I hope you found that clip interesting. I didn't put that there to scare you, but just to say there are interesting things happening on the planet. This is going to be an intense year for everybody. And so we may see things happening in our economy. We may see things happening with the president. And I always feel like if we're aware of something, we can do something about it. So in that you know that, if you want to bring light to an area, positive energy to an area where you feel isn't happening quite right in that area in your world, or you see other people are having a tough time or difficulty with the aspects as they're hitting them, give them some love, give them some space, give them the opportunity to have it be different, because we're all in this together. And so I want for you to go and give that to yourself and also to others. So each week when we do those clips, or I'm talking to you about the astrology, that's the reason for that. Because I always feel like, and this is what I told people when I did psychic readings, if you know something, the reason that we have information in advance is because it gives us the opportunity to be at choice. We can let it run out like it is, or we can say, we want this a little different. So that's why we're going to do those. So our next segment is going to be about conscious causes and happenings. And so for our inaugural show, we have some fun things. It's the International Listening Awareness Month. And so why is that important? Well, because how well do you listen? How present are you in your world? So it's just, these are going to be reminders, just kind of little conscious things like, well, just check in with yourself. Are you doing listening? Are you kind of paying attention in your world? Are you present with yourself? Are you present with the people that you love in your world? So if not, check in, get grounded, and get present with them. We're also going to be in the middle of International Ideas Month. And so this is really fun because one of the things about doing a television show is you're always generating. So how are you generating in your own life? What new ideas? What new creative things? What new solutions do you have? What opportunities can you create for yourself? Or what ways do you want to self-generate? So this is the International Ideas Month. So definitely take full advantage of it. And it's also Optimism Month. And I want to read you a couple of quotes that I thought were just so wonderful about optimism. And one is, to make the world a better place, see the world as a better place. And that's by Alan Cohen. And the other one is, write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year. That's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And so the last one is something wonderful, and it's actually about today for our inaugural show. And that is that it's the International, it's not the International Day, yes it is, it's the International Day of Awesomeness. And so what does that mean? Awesomeness is no one's perfect, but everybody's awesome. So again, as we're moving through the times and things can be difficult and tough, remember that no matter what, you're awesome, and that you can just pick up. Okay, that was last moment, you're here today. In this moment, pick it up, be wherever you want to be. And so the other thing that we're going to do is each week, I want to showcase some celebrity who's making a difference, who's doing things that make a difference on the planet. And so this week, I want to do someone from Hollywood who's just quite a character, and he's done some amazing things, and he was actually a forerunner and front runner of all of the things green and sustainable, and that's Edward Begley. And the thing I love about this is that in 1970, he was green before people ever thought about being green. And so he actually was recycling, a vegan. He created a bicycle that runs his toaster. So he's done interesting things. But he also, in the present, he lives in a house that's only 1,500 square feet, and his electric bill is less than $300 a year. So when you think about that, and you think about how a lot of people, particularly, in big cities, their electrical bills can be $300 a month, what does it take? And that's solar and wind or water or whatever power source you can optimize. We're going to be talking about that in some of our sustainable segments. And he also has a great show on television and that you can find on his website, which is Living with Ed. And they have all sorts of very current, contemporary things. If you're interested in more green and the things that he's doing, it's remarkable, his work. So check out Edward Begley. He's got some great stuff. And all of this information, by the way, will be at the end of the show in the credits. You'll be able to find all of this. So now I want to jump into what my favorite part is of the shows and what my favorite part is of having done radio interviews for all this time, and that's my interviews. And so today I have the great pleasure and fortune of actually interviewing my executive producer, who I'm co-creating the show with. And so I want to just tell you a little bit about Karl Fink. And he has had an amazing life, and different than mine. He has spent his whole life in the visual arts. And he started out in television and doing television shows that some of you may have heard of, called Astrologer Dr, Herman's Head. He's done all kinds of pilots, and then he moved into interesting film making and did some feature film productions, and then moved into documentaries. And we're going to actually show a clip of a documentary in a bit. And finally, he created this platform that we have now, which is Streaming for the Soul, which is what we're airing this television show on. And so Karl has had an evolutionary journey in his own career, and that's what we're going to really talk to him about today, is to find out how he was so blessed and fortunate and has been such a gift to the planet and is now wanting to give that back in so many ways through the visual arts. So I want to welcome you to the show today, Karl.
Hello, Suzanne.
Oh my God, it makes me so happy that you're here joining me today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here joining you.
So Karl, before we kind of jump into this, when we first talked, it was remarkable to me that you would just say, well, let's do a television show. So how is it that you kind of feel into things to have people just, because you have such a creative, multifaceted background in all the different things that you've done with your work. How do you do that?
How do I do that? Well, interestingly, with that one, that was just an intuitive sensing. And that was through my conversation with you. And it was also knowing that I was building this platform for Streaming for the Soul, and that I had certain goals and objectives, things that I needed and wanted to accomplish with it to help build it as not just a streaming platform, really as a network for transformational and inspiring and motivational content for people, and a place where you can go and you can find things that are uplifting, that can help you move past maybe certain blocks and challenges that you're having, things that keep you from getting to where you want to be. You're kind of stuck here and you've got this, and again, you know how it is when you get an intuitive flash and something says, you know what, she can do it. She's got the vibe. She's got the whole thing, and I could just tell.
But it was sight unseen, I have to tell. Sight unseen. Karl and I only had a phone call, and he's offering this. I said, but you don't know me. You don't know my voice. You don't know what I look like. You have no idea about content. And he said, no, I want you. So, it's amazing, Karl, what you do with just how you put things together, just from that intuitive, sort of artistic place where you just sense them.
Right. Definitely artistic and definitely intuitive. No question about it.
Right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how that looks like in Karl's human design chart, because you'll see how people can be reflected, their personalities, their being can be reflected in their charts. And so he also has a human design chart, which you'll see in a minute. Do we stop or we go on?
Hey, Gordon, can we have my human design chart?
Yeah. Again, we're at a sequence. Hold on.
Okay. All right. So we can pick up from that.
Okay.
Also, we have an issue with the camera that's on you, the exposure is a bit soft, a little low. Can we fix that right now?
Yes. Can Danny come in? Okay.
How you doing on tea?
Can I have some more hot water in here?
Almost gone? Yeah.
Thanks, Kristen. So is this interesting to you?
So, Suzanne,
Yes. Yeah, I want to do a chart.
Suzanne,
On a-
Yeah.
Oh, human design chart. Yeah.
the next chart, are the two charts, you want the next two charts or the one?
I want
Yes.
Karl's first, Karl's individual one, and then I'm going to do our joint one.
Okay, and then after that we have the flips?
Yep.
Okay, so Rod is a good.
Do you need me to smile?
Her, when you came in, her hand crossed over the TV twice.
Okay.
That's a problem or not?
Let's see.
Just so you know.
Yeah. We'll live with it.
But go back one now first,
I'll figure
Gordon.
out a fix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Step up, please.
There it is.
Yep, perfect.
Good picture of you, Carl.
Thank you.
So is this what you had anticipated we were going to do with the show?
Yeah.
Is this what you had
Uh-huh.
in mind? Okay.
Totally.
How is this for you over there, sir?
Violet's actually right here, but she's cropped out of the picture. She was only 6 or 7 then.
Oh, little girl. It's coming out nicely, and the flow is good.
And
She's actually calmed down like I would have done. Started off high speed and is now relaxed. and
settling
normal.
into it a little more.
That's
Yeah.
better, Danny. Can you
Energy,
turn
though?
the camera a little bit
It's very
different?
good. It's now beginning to be more mellow.
Right.
When you actually came into the picture, it actually mellowed her.
Uh-huh.
Because it's hard to really judge
Yes.
your speed when you're by yourself.
Right.
But when he
Yeah,
came
I
in, you
said the
have a
exposure's
monitor.
really good.
Yeah.
Right.
Danny, can you pan
Plus,
that?
it's more fun when you're like talking with somebody, right? Rather than,
Yes. Rather than,
I mean, and
because this is somebody, but they're just
Right.
abstract.
right. Well, and the other thing is that this is the last time I'm gonna have this long of a show like that
Right.
because this was just introducing it, and
Yes.
and so
This is the play.
Yep.
yeah.
With that, we're now down to slightly under an hour.
Okay.
So you've used up a half an hour time.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's
Perfect.
good.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna open on wide shot and.
Okay. Open on wide, and let's
My
start
coffee, my tea's coming back in.
Oh, okay. Oh, we got T coming back in, and then let's go back a slide. There you go, and then let her introduce.
Keep my hands out of things.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, by the way. It holds your hands down, so.
Yes, I was thinking how great it was for you to have the T in your right hand, so that way your right hand didn't have to go off over here. Your left hand could do all that for you.
Keeps me behaved.
Do
Yeah.
you want to test the temp?
It's good.
Well, you'll hear her scream.
All of a sudden, if you talk like this.
So.
Oh.
Oh, we're rolling. All right. Let me fix my shirt
5,
and.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So I want to welcome you to the show today, Karl, and I'm so glad you're with me.
We don't have to go back that far. You can go the human design.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't sure where you want to go.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to share, because I think it's important for people to know about you the same way they know about me, is kind of what makes us tick. And we can see that in your human design chart like we can in mine. But you'll see that Karl's chart is a bit different than mine. You'll see that he has reversed where his white spot is. His white spot is up in his head, and mine is down at the root, and his is up in the 7th chakra, but we both have the heart open. And so what that means is that Karl has one of two things. He's either vacuous in the head or is a mastery of spirit. And so because of what he's doing with this show, we know which way it is, and that is that he's bringing in the divine light. So it's always a pleasure when you get to work with someone who's bringing the divine light. And so you can see that. And then that white in the middle of him is the heart chakra. And so he has an open heart, which means he's also open to receive. And then when you look at the two of us together, you look at how we complement each other in our human designs. That they're both very, very similar, except that I'm open at the bottom, meaning I want to bring things in and ground them. And Karl is open at the top, which means he wants to do things with spirit and bring that in and ground it. And where we meet in the middle is in the heart. So it's a really nice kind of a blending and combination of energies. So I love that, Karl. I love that it's like so easy to do this. And, at some level, so symmetric in one way.
Very symmetrical, although I just would have to back you up and say that an argument could be made for vacuous based on my SAT scores if we wanted to check that out.
I'm sure that's true. But look how you've redeemed yourself. Look how
Yes.
you've redeemed yourself. Okay, so what we're going to be doing in these interview segments is I want to take you through people's lives in a way that you can track them. So you can look at your own life purpose in the ways that you can feel into them and feel through them and feel what their lives are like. So each time I interview somebody, I'm going to do an in the beginning, I'm going to do a magic of the moment or a conversion event, and then I'm going to talk about their transformational work. And actually, they're going to talk about their transformational work. So Karl, talk to us about where you started with all this. When you're 18, how could you so clearly know what you wanted to do and, so happy and doing it so many years later and loving every minute of it? How did that happen for you? I mean, I'm envious of people who've managed to have that happen.
I don't know how you even explain that, and I know that this happens for people.
Some
just
people
along
and some not. Yep.
their journey. Yeah, it's a lightning bolt. It's a moment in time, and I was observing my college roommate writing, and he was working on he was doing the dorm newspaper.
Oh my
and
God.
I thought that just looks like so much fun, the sitting and the writing and the organizing and all that and coming out with these stories, and it just seemed really cool, and we went from that. So I jumped on that with him, and then we went from that to writing screenplays.
Wow.
So
Did you collaborate now? Because I think that would be hard to collaborate with someone on a screenplay, where he said, she said, or
Right.
however that works. How did that work for you?
we did collaborate, and we had the most unusual collaboration. We wrote a play together that was called Can't Buy a Thrill, and it was it was an interesting process because and I've shared this process then with another writing partner that I had, but we didn't really sit and write together so much as we wrote separately. And I know that we both kind of went from blasts of inspiration, and we had a vague idea of what our roadmap through the story was going to be, and we just had all these moments that just seemed like they would be really fun to write, and that was kind of what that was. It sort of a mess, but I did end up producing that play too in my early 20s when I was living in San Francisco, which was a lot of fun. And that was really the start of writing as a collaborative effort and doing it in a narrative format.
So when you did that, Karl, because I always like getting inside of creative people's minds because it's fascinating and amazing. Sure. So when you're writing or when you're envisioning your next project, or, for whoever's watching this, how is it that you go into that place? Where do you go? What happens for you?
When I'm writing something, I'm experiencing it internally a lot of the time, and I'm very visual. So I get the feeling tone of it is maybe a good way of saying it.
So do you envision it like, I can imagine, so when I was thinking about this show, so I go and I get the downloads. So literally I'll get the information coming in, and then, or do you kind of like imagine it in your mind? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, I don't know if I might even make a distinction between a download and imagination or inspiration, but yeah, I get the whole experience, and I see it visually, and I can hear it, and I can hear I can hear the dialogue and the way people speak, and I can hear their different inflections and where they break and why they're doing that, and so really what I'm doing when I'm writing something is I'm not so much writing it as I'm describing what I'm seeing and experiencing inside my head. And so then, it's a combination of that, as well as being a little bit more left brain, and creating a roadmap for myself and saying, okay, well, here's where I am and this is where I need to get, and these are going to be the places that I visit along the way. And those visits are those full experiences of, this is what's going on here, and this is the story as it's unfolding, and the conflict, or whatever it happens to be.
Right. Now, so you went and started out in comedy, doing comedy, which is fun, and your personality, and then you kind of moved, and you started moving into documentaries and more I want to see substantial content.
Right.
Tell me
Yes.
about that. Tell me about what made you want to transition.
Wow. Well, I don't really know because I love comedy, and for me,
Yeah, you got a sense of humor, and you like to play with things
I
and
do.
people.
Yes.
And so,
Right. And for me, there's really that we experience two universal languages. One of them is humor, and the other one is music. And they're things that people love to laugh, and they love to listen to music, and so those are it's just very natural. So I love comedy. I didn't really leave comedy for a reason. It's just that there was this other beautiful field over
Right,
here that
right.
said I got to go take a look at that. And I suppose my first interest in the first stepping stone, getting to where I am, was John of God and reading a book called The Miracle Man. And I read that, and this was back in the early 90s. And I really wanted to go to Brazil, and I wanted to shoot a documentary about that. And it was because it was real and because this was happening. And for me, I think a theme is opening doors of possibility and maybe even paradigm busting a little bit.
I love that. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's like that's what it has to be about, or
Right.
why bother?
Yeah, and I think it's very easy, and I do it all the time, to get into a routine, and it's a routine of activity, and it's a routine of thought, and it's a routine, and we just find places where we go, and this is just kind of what we do, and so for me that closes up those doors of possibility. That makes things less and less possible, and so something like John of God, and I go, wow,
Right.
that's so cool.
Right.
That's
And so expanded.
right. Something like that can happen. And more people have to know about that.
That's right.
And that's what it was. Now, I didn't end up doing that. I didn't go to Brazil because my kids were little at the time, and I didn't really feel comfortable being so far away from them and for an extended period of time. But that was a seed planted, and that seed turned into really how then I got into doing more documentary things, which was through Brazzo. And that's where my documentary work really is. And
But simultaneously in all that, you're also doing other screenplays like Ruby Dice and
Yes.
some of the other things. So
Right.
you have like so many different tracks of creativity and spirituality that are all kind of moving simultaneously inside of you. I mean,
Right.
you're kind of growing all these different babies at once.
Exactly. Think of it like your garden, and in one row you've got corn, and another row you've got peas, and another row.
How
maybe
do you keep that straight in your mind? I mean, I'm a good one to multitask, but that's I don't know that I could do that.
Well,
because
you've heard of Sybil. It's just a
Yeah.
multiple personality disorder is really what it is. No, it's I
Well,
don't know. I because it's sort of like memories maybe, or sort of like dreams in a way. If I think of memories, that's kind of what the writing experience is like for me, or like recalling a dream and being in that dream space. And they're different, right? And they all have a different sort of tone, or they all have a different sort of story or a different content to them, and it's similar. So I think I store them that way.
Interesting,
Yeah.
because I know that when I used to do design, I would have, and I would do hospitals. I'd have piles of each one of those projects, and when I write,
Yes.
I'll go till this was as far as it'll take me right now today, and then okay, never mind. I need to go on to the next thing because I don't want to be frustrated.
Right.
So is that how you write? Is it you just go as far as the energy takes you, and then you just kind of pull back and move into the next thing, or
Yes.
or are you one of those people who can kind of force that energy and that flow?
All of the above.
Oh,
All
you're
of the
lucky.
above. I can. Well, sometimes it is a discipline, and you want to just write something, anything. I notice at times when I do that, if I just write anything, if I haven't written something for a little bit, and I think it's terrible, and I don't look at it, but then I go back and look at it in 2 weeks, it's actually okay.
Wow.
And it's something to build from, and but also I will write. Purely along a track until I just kind of feel like I ran out of gas, and then maybe pick something else up. Sometimes I plow all the way through. I've written a script, in 5 days.
Wow.
a feature script. I just sat down and just wrote it because it was just all there, and it just kept going, you know. Other things have taken me as long as 2 years to get to the end. There isn't any real, for me, real pattern to it. It's kind of a patchwork quilt.
Well, but you've done that with such grace your whole life. So when I first interviewed you on the radio, one of the things that I noticed was really interesting was I felt like you had decades in your life. Like there was the comedy decade, and then there was the kind of John of God and all those kind of things decade, and then now we're in the streaming of the soul, or for the soul decade.
Right.
So what was that sort of progression that you went through sort of inside of yourself, or evolution that you went through inside of yourself?
Right. Good question. That first decade, that comedy decade, I was, you know, my 30s, my early 30s. In fact, age 3 weeks before my 30th birthday was when I started writing on Dr. Doctor.
Wow.
And, but, you know, as you notice, there are parallel tracks. Prior to that, you know, from the time I was 12 until I was about 26 or 27, I was a drummer and a musician. And then parallel track to that was I started, you know, getting into channeled material and reading. You know, I cut my teeth on the Jane Roberts books.
Seth Speak. I knew you were going to say that.
Yep, that was.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep, that was my first one, and then Nature of Personal Reality, and then went backwards into the Seth material, and then went out from there. And so by the time I hit comedy, now I'm at the Monroe Institute, and I'm doing astral travel and discovering all of that, and so that as I'm moving through comedy and as spiritual progression is happening, you know, suddenly, and it was in those comedy years when John of God popped up, and you know, timing was not right, but there it was, and it was interesting. And so I think that it isn't so much that there was a hard line as it is that things were kind of getting dragged along at a different pace, and I would jump from one rail, you know, to the next.
Right.
And I think that's kind of how it happened.
Did you do it because you were wanting to be more substantial? I mean, so you did comedy because you're happy-go-lucky and, you know, you got a playful spirit. But as you started, like, going into Seth material and John of God, and was there another part of you that was kind of waking up and getting born that you wanted to bring to the world? I mean, is that why that happened, or you just thought it would be interesting subject matter?
You know what? I think it's a little different than that. The comedy is great, and what was important to me at that time was being able to make people laugh. And what changed is what's important, I think. But also, you know what? There's this thing that compels you. That when you learn something new like that, and it's so significant, you just want other people to know about it. And based on my observation, which is only my little bubble, right? You know, nobody else knew about that. So it was kind of cool. It's like, hey, did you know? And what do you think about this? And it was more that kind of thing. And again, it's wanting to push open doors of possibility for people, because we can be very third dimensional, and we can really kind of settle into this pattern where we believe that what we're seeing and what we're perceiving, this is what
all there is.
That,
Yeah.
And that's why I love moving into this metaphysical realm and moving into really all those things that will fit under the umbrella of streaming for the soul, because it's what else is possible. And I think that's not just important, it's freeing, and it's also true.
So true and so enlightening. So we actually have a clip from one of Karl's visions that he had of an amazing piece that you did, which is the Glorified Postman.
Yeah. And
so talk about that, Karl, because I think that's fascinating, and I love one of the things that I love is when visually spirit can really be represented as in an alive way.
Right.
And so when the clip, and you've actually managed to make that happen, which I just love. So people who are not, you know, very sort of 3D, who are not visual, not spiritual, can feel into, can see, can experience. And I think you conveyed that beautifully.
Well, and so the Glorified Postman, this is something that I did with a British medium, and his name is David Edge, and he lives in Liverpool. And I guess what I loved about this, and the reason that I needed to make it, is that I had this experience with David, and that was a game changer. And what happened was I had mutual friends, and I was visiting them here in Los Angeles, and they said, "Hey, we should call David Edge." And I said, "Okay, who's David Edge?"
Right.
And so they said, "Well, he's this medium, and he's in Liverpool, and he's really cool." So okay, so we called him up, and I don't know, chatted for maybe 10 minutes or so, and then and that was that. And about a month later, I get a phone call from these mutual friends, and they say, "Hi, Karl. David Edge has messages for you."
Oh my goodness.
And I said, "Really? That's cool." So I called David up, and he does have messages for me, and many of them. Well, first of all, never met the man on the other side of the planet.
Right.
And he knows, for example, that the previous day I had been looking for a new place to live in Hawaii, and it was because we were experiencing such a difficult time with mold issues in the house where we were. We were looking at someplace else. And so he calls me up. First thing he says is, "Well, I don't know if you bought a house when you moved to Hawaii or if you've been looking at new property." And I said, "Well, yeah, I was looking at something yesterday."
So he's already with you.
Yes.
And he's never met you, and he's been on the other
Right.
side of the world. And so
Yes.
then you know that it's
Right.
got to be from somewhere else.
Absolutely. And so he says, "I don't usually do this. I don't usually call somebody up and say, 'Well, I got messages for you.'" He said, "I like to meet somebody face to face, or I like to, Skype or do something on the phone." But
And
there
sometimes
was
it can
this-
feel very presumptuous, too. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
really? And yeah.
Well, then what he says is, he goes, "There's this spirit, and he just won't leave me alone, and he's just insistent that I give you these messages." And I go, "Yeah?" I go, "It sounds a little bit like my dad." And he says, "What was his name, Don?" I go, "Yep." And he goes, "Yep, it's your dad."
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I love that, Karl. What a great
Yeah.
story.
So, and here's what it was that David told me, and this for me was a quantum leap, and it seems like a small thing, but it's not, because it and
Well, they're
and this is-
profound. When it hits like
Yes.
that, they're profound.
Right, and I think that one of the things that I like about it is that because it was just a tweak in perception, just a tweak in my understanding of my story and who I am. And what that tweak was is he starts off and he says, "So you have 2 brothers and 2 sisters." And and this was early in the call, and so I thought, "Oh, this is great." I busted him. I go, "Nope. I got 2 brothers, one older, one younger, and just a younger sister." And he says, "Oh, okay." So, and then he talked to me about a couple of the little things, and then he comes back and he says, "Karl, are you aware that your mom had a miscarriage?" And I just said, "Oh, wow, I got David."
Wow.
I said, actually, it was even more than a miscarriage. It was a full-term stillborn,
Wow.
and it was a girl.
Wow.
And so he says, "Well, she just wants you to know she loves you, and she's here with your dad." And
What a
I
trip.
said, "Wow." And the reason that she was there and what it was that she wanted to get across to me was that she just wanted to be more a part of the family.
So
And-
the stillborn sister
Yes,
that had not been born
yes,
wanted to be connected up with the family
yes,
in this dimension.
right.
Cool. So
Yes. So, well, and she was born, but she was born dead, and that was back in 1961.
but her spirit
But her spirit
wanted to still
is hanging
live.
out with Dad.
Yeah.
And they're just having a hang together, and they say, "Well, let's go give Karl some messages." So,
Wow.
so what was the change? So she wanted to be more part of the family. Now, a couple of things came from this that were really, really significant. One was I immediately called my mom, right? And Mom is weeping because here she's getting this message that I'm okay. I'm with Dad, and
Wow.
the other thing that was wonderful about it was we named her,
Wow.
and
So
then,
she wasn't just an anonymous person who just
no
didn't make it. You
no.
named her, and
We named her. She is my sister now, and I celebrate her birthday, and we make, birthday banners for her, and we bake her a cake, and we sing her happy birthday. And part of that process was when she was born, and then immediately we had to bury her. The headstone just said Fink baby girl. That's all it said. So I made a new headstone for her that's got her name, and it says, daughter of loving parents, Don and Helen. And so that was an amazing cathartic thing. And now when people say to me, how many kids are there in your family, I say 5. I don't say 4.
Right.
And that there, and the experience of all of that made me realize the value of somebody like David, who can bring that contact to us and that information to us, because it does help get rid of age-old pain. It does give us just that confirmation of continuity of the soul, and it does help you transform lives. And again, it opens those doors of possibility, because a lot of us are in a place, not everybody, but a lot of people that death is the end.
Right.
And I'm here to tell
It's
you
only
that
death is the end if you don't know any better.
That's right. Yeah, true. And I'm just here to tell you that that's
not true.
That's not true. That this vehicle that we're in is like a car, and we drive around for a while, and then we get rid of this car and we go drive another one. And and we carry on, and the truth of us and who we are continues even
and it
long
continues
after
and
these
evolves.
bodies. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask you, Karl, because I didn't know about your sister that had transitioned.
Yeah.
Did David, or did she later tell you why she chose not to live? Why she chose not to incarnate? What that was about for her?
No, she didn't. All she said was that, and she wanted Mom to know this, she just wanted her to know, she said, I'm okay with how things turned out, and I'm with Dad.
Cool.
So anyway, so this is that clip so what I did was, after that, I said, oh, for heaven's sakes, I have to get David Edge out there in the world. This is great stuff. This is amazing. And so I immediately decided, right after that phone call, that I wanted to shoot a project with David. And so this is a clip from that project.
Fantastic.
Wow. I had no idea I was that close to tears on that still. Violet, Kai, Ruby.
Now, are you wanting to put your fingers over that?
Doesn't matter,
Okay.
because it'll be full screen by this point.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to play this, or you want to just push on?
Renowned English medium David Edge is the glorified postman for the spirit world, delivering messages of joy and love to the living from family and friends who have passed.
Oh.
I'm very aware of a gentleman that comes in really
That took you a
close.
few places.
This must be your husband. He comes in very quick and he says, who would ever believe this would happen? He's making me laugh because he said he didn't fully believe in the spirit world, and he'd probably call you for saying, I'm going to go and see a medium. Dan, I've just got to talk to you, but Mum moves in very quickly and says, I knew I'd get to say hi again. I knew I'd get to say hi. Is that all right? She's been waiting for this moment. She says sorry. I don't know whether you got to say goodbye or something, because she's going on about that.
I did, actually.
Was there someone else in the family then? Because she's going on about that. She's pulling me back and she says, no, there was someone who didn't get the chance to say goodbye.
Father.
There is, in the spirit world, a young child, a very young child. Are you aware of that? Did you know about the passing of the young child?
It was a very, when
Yeah,
she was 4 years old, she passed away.
Yeah. And you've been visited by who lately? A young child. Yeah.
Up in my attic.
At the moment, they seem to be, there's a wall in front of you, and it keeps stopping you. And every time you try and get over this wall, someone keeps putting the bricks in front.
I did do follow-up.
What I've got to say to you, there's a grandmother who moves
really
forward
fun.
really quick, and she says, I am going to knock
So
those
maybe we'll
walls
talk about
down
that a little
for
bit,
you,
Karl, when we come
and
back.
you will walk through, okay? I have learned from Spirit that if you can bring a smile and joy to loss, it is the biggest enhancement of your soul you can ever do. Now, for some reason, he's happy with the house, so whatever you've done with the house, he's happy. He talks about don't overdo the running, so someone's over... Right.
I love the office.
Did he buy that jade ring outside of Hawaii? Yeah.
So the way that you
Now,
cut
when
this
he
for this is
bought
beautiful.
that ring, when he
Just
was away.
how I
Was
would've had you cut
grandfather
it,
passed
this is
over
it.
there?
Yes.
It's just for him to bring that evidence forward to say to you, how would I know
Anything
that? He
else you
says,
want in this
I was
interview,
passed
Paul?
over
That's
when
okay.
he got
Where
the
we are now.
ring.
There's some other
He
places
then
I want to go,
seen
but I
that
just want to
he
see if there's,
has the
just
ring.
checking
Is
with
that
you if there's
okay?
other things.
Ask me what I'm going to do with this.
The name, the
Okay, yeah,
glorified
that's
post.
natural.
And then let's move
Basically
into
is-
streaming for the
Yep,
song.
okay.
I am
That's where
just
we're
a
going.
postman, really.
Because I really
And
want
looking
him
at your
yeah,
ability
yeah.
and everything that you
Yeah, yeah.
have
He and I
within your
talk
ability,
every once in a while.
it's
and I
just slightly glorified. And the
that
postman
connective tissue
aspect
to go
is,
out there
I
Nice.
give you
Nice,
your
okay.
mail, basically from spirit. I come along,
He's such
pop the mail through,
Love his
and
energy.
move on to the next trip.
Love his
Give me
energy.
your hands, because you always hold your hands. So he says, remember this? Remember
Say
when you
again?
held my hand
Yeah.
and you said goodbye? So he says hello. All right.
You're down to the 30-minute mark.
Okay.
We just hit an hour.
Perfect. So that's good, Karl. So we've got another 5 to 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes, and we're out. And
Right.
So we'll be good. I mean, the truth is, the only stop time we put on this is our own, because it's
Right.
we're creating. If it was an hour and a half, it
Oh, I
would
know.
be
Yeah, we don't have any parameters.
yeah.
But that feels
Condense
about
is
right,
better. Yeah. Well, so Karl, that was absolutely amazing, The Glorified Postman with David Edge. And I think one of the things that was most profound to me about that was, and I don't know if you felt this way when you were watching that, but just to feel people's hearts as they open up and they get to expand into that other reality and that other dimension and being touched in that way. And I know, Karl, you've talked to some of the people and you've followed up with some of the people. What has that been like? What was their experience? Where did they go with all that?
That's the other part about it that's really fun, because every single one of them had information that came through, and those things unfolded if they paid attention to it, and if they moved forward in these ways. Things happen. We had one kid that was the one that was in the restaurant, and there was the girl that had been visiting in the attic, and the whole story about that was that that attic was in a restaurant, and that they felt that the place was haunted, and there was another being that was in there too that was visiting, and their messages, they had messages for him, and they wanted to pass them along, and it was that they would be opening soon, he and his brothers, another restaurant, but one of the brothers was going to be leaving the group, and it all happened just like that, and they opened this beautiful restaurant down at the Montalani, and down on the Gold Coast on the Big Island, and then Lisa, who's in there, her grandmother is talking about knocking down walls, and what I didn't leave in there is she said, and I imagine, or I'm seeing October is a significant month, and so I spoke to Lisa then 8 months after this, and she said, oh my gosh, yeah, October was huge and big changes, and she has since moved to Oahu, and she's gotten married, and and her life is unfolding in a beautiful way, and and then the woman whose mom was visiting, the way she came in, and a lot of times what they'll do is they come in and they want to talk about something that validates it for them, so that you realize, oh, okay, so that it says that it's my mom, and it really it have to be my mom, because she's the only one who's going to know this, and
I love when they do that. I love when the spirits come to us, and they come through us, and they come through in ways that are undeniable.
Right.
Because when I've actually done hypnotherapy with people wanting to go with the trauma of the lost loved one.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I will see the spirit of the loved one standing there, and I will see them dressed in something, and I'll say, there's a man who's dressed, and this is what he's wearing. Is that someone you know? And it'll be exactly the person that they want to contact.
Right.
And so because you have that level of detail, like what you're talking about, they know that it's real because they know you don't know any of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And there was a lot of that. And so to go back and do the follow-up then, and I shot all of that footage, and I've got that all compiled and put into the show. And so it's pretty awesome. And it's a format that I love, because you saw that we were outside, and we didn't know any of those people. We were out at the Hilton hotel resort on the Big Island, and David wandered around and he was just, reading people. Yeah, and he said, I think they would be a good one. And so we'd go over there with the cameras and we'd say, you know what, we're doing a show and David has some messages for you. And
are you willing to receive?
Yeah, do you want to do that? And they go, okay. And that was how we did all that outside stuff.
Nice.
And then the sitting with multiple people together. they were all people David had never met. We brought them in, you know, we asked them to come and do it, but so there was some spontaneous stuff and there was a little bit more setup stuff. It was great, and again, for me, it's amazing what it's all about and what comes through as a result of that. And
That's right.
so I love that stuff.
That's right. I agree. And I think that the thing that makes me most happy about that, and one of the things that I always want to be doing on Transform the Times, is to show you that, to see what spirit can bring to you and through whom. In this case, it was David Edge, and there may be a time where we'll actually interview him on this show, Karl, and you know, have him give that gift. So one of the things is you're watching Streaming for the Soul, because I'm going to have a lot of spiritual people, and just like Karl and I and everybody watching the show, some people teared up. So as things touch you, use that as an opportunity to take yourself somewhere. Let yourself be taken wherever that is you're supposed to go, because that's what Transforming the Times is about. So I love, Karl, that you did that. I love that you shared that with us. So you now have new work that you're doing with Streaming for the Soul.
Yes.
And I think at some level that's your most monumental work, and that's really going to be the legacy of your life. So tell us all about what Streaming for the Soul is professionally for you.
Well, professionally, it is.
Well, professionally and personally. I mean, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's both. So,
professionally, it's taking advantage of a skill set that I've spent 30 years developing, and personally, it is just an extension of this desire and this compulsion to open those doors of possibility for people, and to also, you know, inspire them or bring forward people. I mean, there are people that we're meeting. I call them, you know, I say that they've got superpowers, and I love hanging out.
I love how you say that too, by the way. I think it's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, hanging out with people that have superpowers. Yeah, and it's awesome, and they do amazing things, and they're great catalysts, and they help people move energy and get from who they are in this moment to what their greatest potential is.
Love it.
And that's the whole goal of it, and to me personally, that's the mission, and that's what it means to me, is to and I've seen that and been moved greatly by that with some of the people that I've worked with and been live streaming for the last 3 years, and because I've done those testimonials and spoken to people directly, and you know, seen amazing healing happen both physically and emotionally, and you know, in relationships or in careers or
yeah, I mean, so many shifts, and that's what the empowerment of everything Streaming for the Soul is about. And I know that you've just recently done some amazing work with someone a lot of people nowadays are familiar with, and that is Eben Alexander and Proof of Heaven.
Correct.
And talking about what it was like on the other side, and then Rika Zimmerman. So I think we have some clips of that as well. Is there anything you want to say about that, Karl?
You know, we have been live streaming. Part of what fits really nicely under the umbrella of Streaming for the Soul are near-death experience stories. And so
you can see Karl has a bent that way.
I guess I do, yes. But you know what's now, this is not somebody who's getting information from the other side. They actually went to the other side.
And I love that.
And got information, and then came back, and now they're telling us. And that's what's really significant with Dr. Eben Alexander.
Well, not only that, he's a doctor. So, you know, they bring a little more weight to the table, and then, you know, and in fact, one of my guests that I'm going to be interviewing on this show, he's actually been there and back a few times as well. And I mean, you and I have both been there too, although we don't talk much about it, but both of us have been there and back.
Yes. So,
and oh, by the way, you don't have to go there just because you've almost had something catastrophic happen. You can have that happen as some function of a dream state, as a function of a meditative state. There's a lot of different ways you can get there. So we're talking about all that, but you can expand into those places in a lot of other ways too.
So we can show this little clip from, this is something that we live streamed. And it was Dr. Eben Alexander at the International Association of Near-Death Studies in Santa Barbara.
And some beautiful flute music that you had before that.
Yeah, opened with beautiful flute music, and then Dr. Eben Alexander. So we can take a look at that. Okay.
Good. So, what I want to talk about is where it is you want to see Stream for the Soul go, and what your vision is for that. And how people can play with you on that.
And yet, what my coma journey showed me very
you know,
clearly,
when
because
we
I
stopped
should have
him,
had
I'm just
no
gonna say, I'm
experience
going
at
to ask
all.
you, so as you were filming
And yet
that,
I
were there
had
any
this
things that really impacted
extraordinarily
you about the interview?
rich journey
And,
that
you know,
seemed to go
personally,
on for
because,
months or
you know,
years.
and then we'll go into Rika,
that
and
part of
probably
which
say
I
something
describe in
similar,
Proof of Heaven.
and
As
then
you
other
can
things
imagine,
about
there's a
streaming
whole
for the
lot
soul
more
that
of
you
that
want to
story.
do, and you're
But to
doing,
come to
and
realize
what people can look
that
forward
that
to,
is
and,
the,
you know, whatever
the
that
true
is for you.
nature
And then
of
I'll
our
just
existence,
get
that the
Gordon in here,
material
and we'll get close to
world
close.
is something that is emergent
You're
from
good, okay.
that
Good.
consciousness,
It's
soul,
overkill
or
from last
spirit.
time.
I know. I've got mold on my shirt. That's got to be it.
Now, sometimes the perfumes and the smells also, we're in a closed atmosphere. You're down to 20 minutes.
Okay. We're back.
Oh,
We're
sorry.
back live.
I guess we're back.
Yeah.
All right. So, Karl, what was that piece of filming him like? Because, you know, I've gone over and back, and I had my own experience. But to listen to a doctor talk about it, and with some degree of intimacy, and again, that vibe being there, what was that like for you, being with him and what he had to say?
It was great to be with him, and I had read Proof of Heaven, so I was familiar with his story, and I was familiar with the experience that he'd had. But so much has expanded for him, and so much he really.
The doorway's open substantially after that.
Yes,
Yeah.
tremendously. And so now what he's doing, and I think this is great that he's doing this, is he's now starting to apply what it was that he learned while he was on that journey. And one of the things that he has to do, he doesn't talk so much about, you know, all the details that are in the book and about the, you know, what led to the near-death experience. He doesn't spend quite so much time on that. He's talking about now, you know, what he learned and what he brought forward. But one of the things that he gets invited to a lot of
Conferences, I'm sure.
Well, with doctors.
Uh-huh.
And here's what they want to know, and here's what they can't understand. And it's awesome that he's not just a doctor, he's a neurosurgeon, and everything about him is all about the brain. And so for years he was...
So he's not a quack and he's not a freak.
Yep.
And he has the data.
He does. He's got the data. And so he's been trying to explain to the doctors and understand himself how anything was possible at all for him to experience, because he had bacterial meningitis. And he says by day 5 or 6, his brain, pardon the expression, was just floating in a bag of pus. And that the neocortex is dying. The neocortex is what makes us human. It's where we've got personality, where we've got all our higher thought, where we experience things, where we have memory. All
That'd
that
be
stuff.
tough. That'd
Yes.
be very tough.
So that's dying. That's going away. They're thinking this guy's going to be a vegetable, you know.
No, the spirit had higher purposes for him.
I guess it did. He
Higher
comes
purposes
back
for
and
him.
he is articulate and he is telling the story and he's
And
brought the
completely
whole-
lucid.
And he had the complete experience.
Right.
He experienced all of that stuff, and they're saying, how is that possible? And he has realized now, and this is now where they're not sure they want him in the club anymore, because he's having to tell them the brain does not create consciousness.
Right.
Consciousness created the brain.
Right.
Consciousness creates form.
Right.
And that it is always existent. It is the thing that is. And that really now his understanding of the brain is that it's not something that creates expansion. It's actually a great reducer. And that what it's doing is it is eliminating all of the what we would call metaphysical stimulus, all of the spiritual realm, and it is focusing only on our 5 senses. And it was great to be with somebody to hear from his perspective as a scientist, hear him really sort of putting into an understandable form what's going on. And so it's great. And he's continuing with that work, and I love that. And again, hugely expansive. And then a portion of it too was working with his significant other, Karen Newell, who's been doing work that expands on the Monroe Institute work with the hemisync technology, and they've gone from simple binaural tones to actually combining binaural and monaural tones together, and with the entire purpose being to take the great reducer out of the out of the picture so that we are more perceptive to what's actually real and what exists out there beyond our five senses.
So, you know, what's really interesting, Karl, that you're talking about that is both his book, Proof of Heaven, but then also Deepak Chopra and Rudolph Tanzi just wrote a book called The Superbrain. And Superbrain talks about the brain in the way that you're talking about. So I feel like science is finally helping us get there and making it credible for people who need sort of the left hemisphere to be at home with something before they go on.
Right.
So if you're interested in what you just saw with that short clip from Eben Alexander, you can find that on Streaming for the Soul. But you also have a clip from a workshop that we both attended, you filmed and I attended,
Right.
from a lovely woman. So
Yes.
talk about what Rika was doing there and what it was that moved you to film her in the way that you did, because you got such intimacy with her.
Rika was such an amazing, such a beautiful presence, and her workshop I thought was so wonderful, so beautiful, and she is somebody. She's great because she won't tell you that she's got superpowers, but she's got some serious superpowers, and she just, you know, that's just her ace up her sleeve, and she
Right.
doesn't tell anybody about it. So she comes in, and she's
She's
completely
gorgeous, by the
different.
way. She's absolutely beautiful. So you're not sure who you're going to get when she comes.
Right, and what she's bringing when she comes in is just this amazing energy, and it starts with play. And she starts hooking people in, and she starts engaging them and asking them questions.
So innocently.
Oh my gosh, it's masterful.
So innocently.
Masterful how she just brings the audience in and involves them, and then she goes to this entirely different level that has just this gravity and this sort of nurturing heart. I said to her, I said it's like, you know, the heart of an angel and the wings of an angel being wrapped around you, and she starts.
And she looks kind of like an angel.
Toning.
She does.
And this is another. It's just another process. All of these things for me and for Streaming for the Soul, they're like different spokes leading to the same hub.
Right.
You know, and not everything is going to be for everyone, right? But something out there is going to work, and something out there is going to be a catalyst that's going to help, you know, shift somebody's perception, their
Move
perspective.
people forward in whatever way,
Exactly.
or transform their lives.
Exactly. Yeah. So Rika is awesome. Rika is just so beautiful, so radiant, so wonderful, and so I love this piece because she starts in, you know, with the play, and she's like this little fairy up there on stage, you know, and then she goes into the toning, and as she's toning, she's literally got tears coming, and she's weeping.
It's beautiful.
And, yeah. So anyway, so here's Rika.
Which we don't have.
Okay, great. So then we'll come out of Rika in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, so wasn't that beautiful how Rika was, and just the elegance of her being, and just being able to tap into that. And she's another one of those people you can actually find on Streaming for the Soul. So if that moved you in some way, that's another piece of programming you can find that'll take you to that sort of divine place inside. And a place of light, Karl. I mean, you know, she's just such a light being.
Right.
So talk about what sort of is upcoming with Streaming for the Soul, where you're going from here with Streaming for the Soul, what people can expect.
Right. Well, Streaming for the Soul is expanding exponentially at this point. I mean, we started only a couple of months ago with this, and already we're just we're getting,
looking at other television shows,
Yeah.
looking at other streaming live events.
Yep. Yep. And we're really moving in two directions. We're producing new and original material, as well as we're distributing existing material. And again, it would all fit under that umbrella of you know, transformation and inspiring people. And the goal is really to eventually it will be a network.
A network. How fun is that?
Yeah.
I love that, Karl. And I think lots of people have tried to launch that, and no one has really done that successfully. So
Right.
I'm thrilled that at that level of being, that's the bar you've set, and that you're making that happen. So I'm so glad you joined me today. Made me
Well,
so happy.
It was great to be here, and this was really fun to do.
Okay, so I want to introduce our technical director who's kind of making everything behind the scenes happen for us. So Gordon, you want to come and grace our studio with your presence?
Come on down, Gordon.
And he's really interesting because Gordon Hokolo has done some really interesting things. I mean, he's a madcap wizard with sound and mixing and all that kind of business, and he's worked on such projects as 15 Dungeons and Dragons episodes, several projects for Sony, Warner Brothers, Fox, you name it, every major studio he's worked for. And he's also won a couple of Golden Reel Awards for the Legos Bionicles movie that he did. And I think it's fascinating because one of the things that's curious to me is that Gordon has this little contraption which he's going to bring in, and he has a little flying helicopter. And so imagine that when we start filming on location, I can actually have people looking over things, it could be actually over the earth and ley lines or energy things. It could be over farms. It could be over hydroponic things or aquaponics. So it'll be fascinating to see, and he has a little clip of that as well. So he's in all kinds of things. So Gordon, where are you? Is he coming in?
I think he's coming. And we'll pause.
You have 10 minutes.
Okay, good. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Except it's an hour and a half, but
Yeah.
it's perfect.
I think I need a mic or something.
Oh, you do? What do we do for that? Should I give you mine?
Either that or I guess I can just
Here.
kind of stand here. Or
Yeah, I guess why don't you share mine, or it'll be kind of weird if I don't have stuff.
how am I gonna? Am I in?
There.
Am I in frame?
You're in frame.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go, and let me just have you walk in and enter again, and then
Sure.
Okay, and
So I'd like to welcome Gordon Hokolo to the show, and he's our technical director for this production. And Gordon, come join us today.
Hey, how you doing?
It's so great to have you, and thanks for making this whole project easy. But the other thing that I love is you've done and have some great little toys that you have in your trick bag. And one is a great little helicopter that you can use to show all kinds of things. So, and I think you even brought us one of those, and then we're actually going to be able to see something too. So,
Yes, I brought this fun little toy, which is a model of the larger ones that I use to do aerial photography with, which we have a clip which we can run in a minute. But just let's see if we can.
I want to see this because
see
oh, look at this!
we can actually-
Look how fun is
we
this!
can fly this in here and not.
This is the high-tech version of. Oh, look at that, and it comes right home.
There
super
you
cool.
go.
That is
so
totally
Isn't that
cool.
fun?
I love that.
Do you have footage?
We do.
Okay.
And if someone in that other room can double click on the next slide, we could.
Kristen, go ahead. What?
So if this is the one that you're filming on,
It is.
we're only getting your hand.
That's what I was afraid of.
So,
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if we can switch
Here.
it to
That one's going to be tight.
No. Should we just do a cut? Should I just pull out and do a cut? And
Yes.
You'll start the same.
Yeah.
Again? That's good.
Hey, Dan.
This is all the way out.
Do you want me to advance the slide? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'll show you how to do it.
Okay, yeah, you were not in
Um,
frame when you came
thi-
in. You were like,
This
Right.
I'm completely out of frame.
Here, let's do this. Let's. You want to frame it up so that
Yes,
we know
yes.
that he's in, and.
There's no way that I can be in.
Okay, so how can we do this, Carl?
Oh, okay, and it's as wide as it
It's
is.
as wide as it
Okay,
can
then
go.
you
Do
know
you
what?
want to come over here?
Um, Yeah.
It's on manual zoom right now.
How about stand
Oh,
behind
okay.
Carl? If you're standing
Yeah, but
behind
I'm
Carl
still not going to be in enough.
I should get up.
There.
in shade places.
Yeah. The problem is the mic.
Maybe you can kind of like do this transition where it's like, hey, it's been great to have you on the show, and we're gonna have someone else come in now or something like that.
Can do
Okay.
that too. Yeah.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
Okay, so
and
hold
that way
on.
There I can change, I can put the mic.
We already said thank you, so let's do that. Let's do. And I'll get up and go, and then you do you by yourself, and I just want to bring in the technical
Do you know
director,
where we
Yes.
work?
Okay.
and then we can actually put the mic on him too, and then
okay.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna do it that way. I'm gonna actually leave.
Okay. We're resetting the Zoom so it's matching what it was.
Adios, amigo.
Adios, amigo. And you said thank you for joining, and I said that was fun. And so we actually have that already. We could just go straight to you just saying, we don't even have to necessarily see me get up. But I will. Okay, so I'm going to start by getting...
let me show you how to start the,
So say thank you for...
Okay, go
being
back to
here
that
again.
place, okay.
Yeah, and I'll go, yeah, that was fun. And then I'll get up and see you all on the stream. And then I'll get up and go. And then what we'll do is
I love that. I love that you said that. See you all on the stream. I love that. Okay, good.
And then we'll go to this camera, and so then you're going to say, now I'd like to...
Introduce my technical director.
Yeah. Okay.
So how's this feeling to you?
Cool.
Did you like it, Scott?
You get to see all of the faux pas and things behind the scenes, but you realize it makes a major difference when you learn a specific technique that makes something better for you.
Yeah.
Especially the technical stuff.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do, is we're going to say goodbye again.
Okay.
I'm going to get up and go. And then
We'll switch
she's
mics.
going to... Yeah, and does he know how to switch to camera one? Show him.
I'll tell him.
Okay.
These behind the scene things are very important. Okay. You don't realize them when you're on the radio. You don't need them. But on the TV show, they make a...
When everything's live on the radio, I don't do any of this kind of work.
Yeah.
So is this kind of like how you had envisioned this show going, Karl?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
I think the flow between you guys is really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
it's
also
very
know that
conversational.
in this format, we're going to take a lot longer in time. A 1 hour show is going to take an average of an hour and 30, 35 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got to figure it out.
You got it? Okay. All right. So, and Danny, just so you know what's happening here, stay on 2. She's going to say goodbye to me. I'm going to say it was fun. I'll say see you on the stream. I'm going to get up, and then we'll go to 1, and you'll pick her up, and she's going to introduce Gordon that way, okay? I'm assuming you heard that, so. Got it. Okay. We're ready. So.
I feel like my little brain is getting burned up with all this stuff.
Okay.
So Karl, it's been great having you on the show today, and I look forward to you coming back and letting us all know about new and amazing things that you're doing on Streaming for the Soul. And so thanks for partnering with me in this show, and I look forward to having you back.
Yeah, well, this was fun, and I was glad to be here. And I will definitely keep you apprised of all the cool stuff that unfolds.
Right.
So.
And so if you're interested, you can actually go to Streaming for the Soul, or
.com.
streamingforthesoul.com
Yeah.
and sign up, and then you'll get information about all the things that you're doing, right?
Right. And on streamingforthesoul.com, we have, we're building an archive of videos that are available as video on demand, so you can watch those. And when we stream on a different address. It's streamingforthesoul.tv.
But if people want to plug in with you, they should go to streamingforthesoul.com.
Yes.
And then they can,
Right.
y'all can go, if you've enjoyed what you heard today and seen today, you can actually go and watch that and get their links on streamingforthesoul.com.
Right.
And that'll take you to everywhere else you need to go.
Exactly. You got
Good.
it.
Karl,
So,
thanks a million.
yep, you bet. And we'll see you guys on the stream.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Let's change mics.
Now. All right. So now you're on and you're introducing Gordon.
Well, I need the mic first.
I know. But I'm
Where's your
thinking-
little gizmo?
It's right here.
Okay, so you know what? Let's do this. What I want to do with that, Gordon, have it just sitting on the table. And then I'm going to say, show us how this thing works, and you're just going to have it take off the table.
Okay. That's
Timer
fine.
down to 4 minutes.
Perfect.
That'll be perfect for this. You want to help me with this?
So what's the actual physical time?
127.
127?
There you go.
Yeah, we're down to 3 minutes.
Shh, is Akuyo here?
What's that?
Is Akuyo here?
I'm not sure.
She was going to come at 1.
Oh, like literal time is 1:58.
It's almost 2 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Shit, where's Akuyo?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Did anyone?
Oh, there are people here.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
There are people here.
Okay.
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 So, your turn.
So I want to go and introduce you to some other of the team that are helping produce Transforming the Times. And this is my technical director who has made my life very easy. And so I want to welcome today Gordon Hokolo to my show, just so you can see who's making all this happen behind the scenes. And he's also going to show us some of the amazing contraptions that he has and works with. And he's won Golden Reel Awards for Lego's Bionicles. And also he has worked for every major studio doing sound and mixing work, as well as winning a couple of golden reels. Oh, wait a minute, I already said that. What was the other thing you did?
Babylon 5.
Babylon 5, that's what I wanted. Dungeons and Dragons, that's the other one. Okay, so we're going to kind of cut this. So I want to welcome today my technical director. Over the course of my shows and episodes, you're going to meet various people who are involved in all this. And so today I want to introduce you to Gordon Hokolo. And he has a marvelous little contraption here with us today, which we're going to show you in real time shortly. But he's also been working on Dungeons and Dragons and done episodes for them, Babylon 5, won a couple of golden reels for Lego's Bionicles movies, and does all sorts of amazing things with sound and mixing. So Gordon, welcome to the show today.
Well, thank you. It's awesome to be here.
So I'm glad that you're coming out from behind the curtain for a little while.
It's a little bit odd being in front of the camera instead
I know,
of
but
being
I just felt
back.
like you needed to do that.
Well, thank you.
So you brought a little contraption. Why don't you just give us a quick demo of what happens here?
Well, this is...
We're going to have a little orbit, and this is going to be something we're going to be using to film some of our later episodes when we do things on locations.
This has been one of my... Aviation has been one of my passions for a very, very long time. So...
So have you named this guy?
No, this is a little guy you can go out and buy yourself. And I've been flying for about 48 years. Of all different kinds of things. About 35 years real airplanes, and about 48 years remote controlled.
That's amazing. And I think we also have some footage of you doing this in real time, so you can show people. And look how it lands so nicely in your hand. So I think that you also have a clip that we can run where we're seeing in real time a big one of those.
Yes.
Doing its job.
So another passion of mine, if we can run the clip, another passion of mine is photography. And so when you combine aviation and photography,
some amazing things can happen.
Some really amazing things can happen. So I've been working on getting a helicopter to be stable enough to create this Steadicam kind of an image that's very, very smooth. Even in high winds, even in high winds like that.
You have to be pretty stable yourself too. I'd have this thing. I'd have it on his back.
Well, like I said, I've been flying for a while, so it just kind of comes natural. For some reason, machines like aircraft and boats and cars and things like that, we get along really, really well. And so I have a really good relationship with those, as well as people. And people, of course, are my first favorite. And
right. So there's a big real version.
Yes, and that guy there is, in fact, all the footage that you've seen here so far was shot by that helicopter right there.
Oh, that's amazing. So Gordon, I want to thank you for joining us, and I look forward to all the other creative things that we're going to get to do and all the other creative projects that you have. So thanks for joining me on the show today.
I really appreciate it.
So now I'm going to show and share with you some of the things that we have for upcoming segments, because we have some great upcoming segments. And my next one is going to be, so do you want me to stop and then we'll...
Actually, the camera should, if we could do maybe just the end of that, and can we cut to...
that next slide?
To camera 1?
Yeah.
So I can gracefully leave?
Well, we have it anyway, right? Because
we have ISOs. So I guess I'm done. I can leave. Okay, great.
So.
Thanks, Gordon.
Perfect. Thank you.
But we'll put you back on cards.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okie doke, Joe.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gordon.
Sure.
Okay.
So we don't have much time left at all now.
You're 0.
Yeah.
So that's good, because this is not, from here is not going to take much more time. We're done.
Okay. So we'll do sign off and.
So I'm just going to do upcoming shows, and then this show credits, and then we're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. And then we'll give you a quick little break, and then we'll
do the next one.
With the Kuya.
Sounds good.
Yay.
So you tell me when you're ready for me to start again, Karl. You want that the thing up here, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
We should go to transforming the times card, and then we'll put the end card up that's got the upcoming events.
Okay.
You got that, Gordon? So we'll go back to the transforming the times card, and Suzanne's going to there you go. Just talk a little bit about.
I'm going to introduce
Thanks
the
for being
upcoming
there,
shows.
and here's the upcoming events, and then we'll do that upcoming events card at the end there. Okay?
So there's two after this. The one is upcoming events, and then the sponsors.
Oh, okay.
Credits.
So it's upcoming events and sponsors. I guess
Yeah.
you've got those. Yeah, Gordon. So, all right. So here we go. We're going to start.
Hold on.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that indeed I got the right card.
That,
Okay.
This is the one that needs to come next, and then that other one is the one after it. This one comes after the one you just had up.
Yeah.
This is the first one. There
Got
you
it.
go.
Okay.
Okay, stand by just 1 second.
Okay.
And then you're going to have to change this out because we don't have his in here. And we don't have a Kuya's. This is 2 down the road. I have the real one done already.
Okay.
And so we just have to, I think we deleted a few of them because we
Do you have
couldn't
it
get them.
here?
I do.
Oh, okay. All right. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
So I hope you've enjoyed the show today and all the different things that we're doing. You're going to see that with me every week. And so I want to just let you know what our upcoming shows are going to be about, because every month I'm going to have different things. And so you'll see what we're going to be doing. So starting next week, we're going to have an amazing show with Akuyo Graham and her work with incarcerated youth in the LA County Juvenile Hall and the juvenile system. And so that's fascinating. Her segment's called Spirit Awakening. And then the following week, we're going to be having Dr. S. Ben Svi on, and he's going to be talking about an upcoming show on Streaming for the Soul called Alchemy of Healing. And then the last week of this month, we're going to have another show on with an amazing woman who does aura painting. And you'll actually get to see what it looks like when she hears spirits, she hears voices, and she translates that because she has pixelated sight. And you're going to see that come to life in an aura painting. So I hope you've enjoyed the show today. I hope you'll stay with us and visit us every week. And also it's on demand, so you can take it whenever you want to. And then I want to just share with you all the generous people who have supported this show. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you come back and see us again. Thank you.